Hello, hello. Sorry about that, Ben. It started on its
No
own
problem.
here. I'm going to switch our camera up. Uh, duh, duh, duh.
I had
Bonjour,
to mute my other
beaches.
browser.
So,
It,
we had a full on crisis right before this because,
Crisis.
yeah, our power went out. It's been storming here all day, and
Hello.
but it's just small on our screen.
Okay.
It's not small on everyone else's, I don't think,
Well,
anyway.
yeah, it is.
Oh, here. Let's switch that up.
Justin, you lost an
So
eye.
yeah, I did. I did. Let's see here.
Because I poked him
There we
in
go. Okay, so yeah, chaotic as always coming into this deal. Yeah, we literally had flashlights and stuff trying to get this set up just a couple of minutes ago, and then I was thinking that we were going to have to go. Well, I'm still on Wi-Fi over a phone right now, but I was thinking we were going to have to do this whole thing over a phone, which was going to be a shit show. So, yeah, it's an ordeal. So
Here we are.
here we are. We made it. So, what's going on, folks, in the chat? We got Zach stuff and Yvonne's CPM. Who else we got in here? Chicago 23. Hello, hello. Sobox. There was some other folks in here. Jason Brown, William Lenderman, Michael Morgan, Ethan Ruins, Eggs and Ham. So
Birthday
hopefully
boy.
everybody. What was that?
Eggs and Ham's birthday today. We should wish him a happy birthday. I saw that in the chat.
Really?
Right on.
Happy birthday, you bitch.
David, happy birthday. Okay, so now we've gotten things kind of sort of working here. Hopefully, got it. I see your comment there, Ben. We're good to go. Yep. So anyway, so tonight we've got Mr. Ben Belkin himself with Jack Wolf Knives. Hopefully, I think most of you guys are probably pretty familiar with Ben and Jack Wolf Knives. But he's got some really cool stuff going on, and he's got multiple different models in the works, and I think everybody's really pumped and excited to see these things come to fruition. They've been teased a whole bunch, so it's going to be really cool to see these things in the flesh, hopefully soon. So, what do you got going on with Jack Wolf there, Benjamin?
Well, I got going on everything I possibly could have going on, and that's what I strive to do on a daily basis. So, it's trying to bring these knives to the market. Right now, that means working with 4 different manufacturers to determine the best fit for me, not just now, but in the future. Obviously, marketing is like a 24/7 operation, always working on that. Designing has to happen too. Can't go too long without pumping out a design, or else you sort of like it gets kind of stale, your skills. So you got to keep that blade sharp, so to speak. And then there's like the administrative side of things, like how I'm gonna, the managing of the money, the dealer program, how we're gonna communicate, what are the rules. So there's like any aspect you can think about running a small business I'm having to deal with, and I love it. It's stressful, but it's not miserable, and it's extremely rewarding. So that's what I got going on.
Right on. Real quick, Zach, thank you so much for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. But yeah, Zach says excited for the new Jack Wolf lineup. Thanks for taking the time. So real quick, I'm going to change our view here. I laid out some of Ben's cards over here on this different camera view that I've got going on. And let me see if we can. Yeah, so a few of Ben's designs. Some of you guys might be familiar with. I think for prototypes, the Little Bro and is it the Big Bro? Those two are ones that you have prototypes for. Is that correct?
I have. Are you talking about like the Riot prototypes?
Yeah.
Oh, I got prototypes for every single thing on the table.
Oh, for okay. So all the
Yep.
ones that I have cards for, you have prototypes for?
Yes, sir.
Right on. So there's some really cool ones. The Big Bro and Little Bro are really phenomenal. And
real quick on this one, did you name the sharpshooter after me because I'm a sniper or what?
So I heard that you're a sniper, and I want to go long range shooting with you.
Okay. I'll
Like,
teach you.
you guys.
Shit.
I've
we go.
sent some rounds past 1,000 yards, myself. So maybe we can have some fun.
Okay.
Nice. Yeah.
Well, to answer your question, Molly, I didn't know you when I named that knife, so it's just a cool coincidence. But that pattern.
I thought maybe you
knife,
dreamed about me.
Well, who's to say I haven't been? But but that knife shape, if you look at the back of the card, like the shape of the handle looks like a rifle stock, and historically that knife pattern or handle shape is called a gun stock. So I just kind of took inspiration from the historical reference of the name of the knife.
Nice.
Yeah. The sharpshooter is definitely one that I think is super, super cool. And then the other one that I really like is the Javelina.
Yeah.
The Javelina is super cool. I dig the name. I also dig the artwork and the character.
Mm-hmm.
It's just super cool.
It's pretty cool, guy.
For sure. So yeah, I'm super pumped for you. I think it's really awesome. Everything that you have going on. Ben and I have talked about it multiple times, and I really dig the whole thing with the artwork, with each individual knife. It's a whole brand, and it's fun and interesting, and it's something that I think the knife industry was kind of missing, and just a different approach to a knife brand, if you will. And yeah, I'm all about it. I think it's super cool.
I appreciate that, man. The support from everybody in the community, it just fuels my fire. And when people are enthusiastic about what I'm doing, it just makes me want to work harder and keep coming up with just stuff that I think is awesome, and that I think you guys will think is awesome. The art, I kind of came into the whole thing with a blank slate. I've never ran a knife company. I've seen how other people conduct business. I've learned a lot from it, but I figured this is a great opportunity to try to do something the way that I would want to do it, and not according to some existing formula or some, cookie cutter business plan. And just really wanting to sort of take my experience as a collector, which is the lens I see the appreciation of knives through. And I think a lot of knife companies aren't sort of the driving force isn't through that lens a lot of times. It's either through the lens of a maker who sees something they want to specifically craft, or maybe from someone with manufacturing experience who's building things to a specific set of constraints that they understand in their manufacturing processes. That's the lens. And I think then a lot of times the buyer's experience engaging with the brand is kind of secondary. Not that it's unimportant to them, but that it's not the thing that's driving sort of the vision and the decision making and the philosophy of the company. And so that was really my mindset was, how do I deliver an amazing experience, not just an amazing knife. The knife has to be amazing. To me, that's just a given. It's what else can I do to make the whole thing amazing? And there's so much more to the process than the knife.
Right, like Jack Sacks.
Like Jack Sacks.
with sweet microfiber cloths that are awesome. With, I don't know if you'll really be able to see it or not, but Jack Wolf Knives logo, and everything that Ben has going on is just ultra high quality, even down to the bags themselves. And since, you know, Molly and I have started OCD for EDC, and we have all these different things that we have up on the website, hence why my office looks like a shit sty. There's just so much going on around here all the time, but like I said, even down to the bags are excellent quality. The card stock, I mean, everything about it. It's an awesome brand, and
it fits the experience I think you're going for.
For sure.
I applaud that.
Definitely.
Well, thank you. Like the Jack Sacks are like, let's unpack that a little bit, right? So I like collecting stickers. I have a workbench full of stickers from brands that I love. And I'm like, certainly I'm not the only guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, but it's like, you go to a show, everybody has stickers. So it's like, how can I do better, right? And then my other thought process was like, this was at Blade Show, just to kind of be a little more specific. So I'm going to Blade Show. I'm debuting other than what I've shown online in photographs, this is the first time people are going to be able to touch and feel my product line and meet me face to face and have like the real experience, because online observation is not a complete experience. It has to be like, you know, in your hands, and you have to hear the knives walk and talk, and it's got to be like all your senses, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't really have that emotional connection to something over the phone or on a screen the same way you do in person. So like that in-person experience is like highly important to me. And so, you know, I recognized that I wasn't going to have anything to sell at the show, and that I didn't want to leave people empty-handed, number one. And number two, like, I'm asking for people's support, you know, in one way or another, like, please consider buying my products. Or I had like barcodes people could sign up, you know, scan a QR code and follow me on Instagram, or scan a QR code and get on my newsletter, which, by the way, guys, at Blade Show in Atlanta, like, your phone won't work. The signal's dead in there.
Yeah.
So like my QR codes, like within 5 minutes, we abandoned them. Right. But my thought was like, you know, don't ask for something unless you're willing to give something in return, you know, and give them something that's like my first chance to put something in someone's hand. I want to make a really good impression. And so I thought, like, just handing someone some stickers isn't enough. And so I wanted to make that a more fun experience. And I was like thinking to myself, like, you know, what would be more awesome than just getting hooked up with a fat sack at Blade Show? You know, like, take that for what you will, right? Like, whatever kind of fat sack makes you happy. Like, everyone loves a fat sack. And
love a fat sack.
Absolutely.
Everybody loves a fat sack, right? You're like, damn, this is a fat sack. So that's where the Jack Sack came from. And, you know, I'm like thinking, what can I put in there? Well, of course, some stickers. And I didn't want to do just one. So there was 3. And we developed a Blade Show exclusive sticker, which kind of matches the back of the shirt. And, you know, I just had fun with that. And it's like, every time you design a new sticker, there's like, you know, fees for the art and fees for the sticker printing. Like, those Jack Sacks added up, but it didn't matter, you know? And it's like, you know, they're floating around in the bag, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, it needs something else. Like, it needs more color. I can see through it too much. And I was like, I got to put a cloth in there, you know? And I had already sourced cloths. Yeah, there you go. I had already sourced cloths for when I packaged the knives from that manufacturer. And it's like, you know, you have this opportunity to do like, hey, just send me one of those budget, like, silky cloths. They're like 25 cents, you know, but it's like, no.
Yeah. And they call those microfiber cloths, but they're really not. It's like,
they're not
some little silk thing, but this is truly microfiber cloth. And you can see, I don't know if it shows up on the camera. I can't see it, but the Jack Wolf logo. But this is a real deal, like good quality microfiber cloth. That's
Touch it.
yeah, it's
Oh,
really
yeah.
nice.
Oh, it's a good
Yeah.
one that doesn't get stuck on the dry skin on your fingers. I love it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and in fact, I frankly was unsatisfied until I had a microfiber cloth that was like what I felt was the nicest one I could find,
Mhm.
yep,
because like everything you touch and feel, you have like an experience with, and anything that looks or feels cheap cheapens the experience. That's just like my, the way I look at things. And so I said, I just have to see if I can get a smaller version of the cloth. And then it was like this puzzle, like, well, how big is the cloth and how are we going to fold the cloth? And like, you have to have enough room around the cloth so you could slide it in the bag. So like the cloth kind of drove the size of the bag, but we could fold the cloth. Like it was a whole production. And then we stuffed 1,000 of those things. Like I made 1,000 jack sacks, which is way too many for Blade Show, but they've carried over to the other shows, which actually worked out really good.
Yeah, you can use them in a lot of places to help market your product. So
For
it's
sure.
a good investment.
And when it came to sourcing the bag, like there's nothing, like I hate cheap Ziploc bags, like the ones that if you like look at them wrong, they rip at the seam, right?
Uh-huh.
But on the other hand, I really like durable Ziploc bags, because if like you have metal parts in your life, like gun parts for me, small gun parts, like I'm always so excited when someone sends me something in a
No,
high quality
so just forget about it.
plastic bag, so that I know like the gun parts won't poke holes in them, or that they won't rip in the drawer with a bunch of other stuff or whatever. And so then it was like a mission to source the right thickness of bags, and it's like, what someone could have treated as a 5-minute ordeal, like, oh, we got a logo sticker, we got a logo here, just let's get 1,000 stickers printed and that's our giveaway. It's like, no,
Mhm.
like let's give people something they will not forget.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like the thought process that drives every single thing I do in this company.
yeah, and to me, these things, like you said, people won't forget it, and it sticks with people, and it speaks to what they can expect when the time does come that they can order a Jack Wolf knife, and you've set a precedent here with this kind of stuff going on, and so people are going to expect high quality packaging and that sort of stuff, which I already know what you're doing for packaging, which is going to be really fantastic. I'm excited to see it, and yeah, which I do. I think you showed off some of the cans at Blade Show, right?
Yeah, there's no secret there. They're always out on my table. I think I've done some Instagram stories with them, but here in the coming weeks, I'm going to start doing like 1-minute videos where I kind of feature them a little bit more. So stay tuned to my Instagram for that. I was kind of keeping my eye on the chat. Forrest, he's talking about the swag bags. To anybody listening, if you've never had a Jack Sack, just send me an email at support@jackwolfknives.com with your address. Or if you don't want to use email, you can send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll send you one on me. My pleasure.
Fun.
Right on. There you go. So you can get yourself a Jack Sack just like this, and maybe some candy and some stickers and a sweet microfiber cloth in there, which is awesome.
Get yourself a fat sack.
That's right.
That's right.
Get yourself a fat Jack Sack.
And it was funny too, like on the so I created on the QR code I mentioned before. It took you to like a landing page on my website, and you could type in your email and it signed you up for my list, and it said like join the pack and get a sack or something like that.
Yeah,
Nice.
just
Like
awesome.
any chance I could do to put some, like, make it fun,
Yeah.
Right.
I just love that. It makes it
Absolutely.
feel not like work. It just
Right.
makes it feel like it's fun.
Well, and like you really want to get your personality through in your product and the spreading of the word. And like, just like you said earlier, you don't want some cookie cutter program where you're just doing everything to the T, just kind of mundanely to get the dollars to flow in. This is your baby. You need to, express yourself with it as well. And so people have that personal connection. Like, I just think about all of our write ups and stuff on our website.
Right.
that's me.
Yeah, Molly
And
does all those, and they all have
and
some humor to them and are kind of funny. And all the stickers that we have, we have the Poon Gooch and the Hoot Gooch stuff and Bonjour bitches and that kind of shit. And it just makes it more fun. Like
right, and relatable.
there's there's so many stickers out there that have EDC on it or a picture of a knife or whatever, and we're just trying to do something different.
Hmm.
I think it's extremely important because, okay, go to a knife show and look around. Like, there are thousands of unbelievably amazing knives to choose from. Like, it's it's
Right.
paralyzing, right? And
Hmm.
so, like, what more can you do, to capture someone's attention, to get them to want to emotionally invest in you, your brand, and your products? Like, that's got to be considered. Now, I mean, some brands, like, and more power to them, like, their quality is just so amazing or their design is so exceptional that they don't really have to necessarily put as much effort into that, let's say. But everybody's got their own journey. And for me, I simply recognize the importance of that element, which is it's the emotional element is what it is. It's the emotional element. Like, how can you relate to someone? How can you make someone feel good? How can you make someone laugh? Right? Because, like, those quality emotional experiences are what we're seeking when we are buying knife after knife after knife. We're not seeking, oh man, I really needed this knife to go do my job every day. Like, that's a totally
Hmm.
different purchase.
Right. Yes.
And
I don't
so,
know what the dog's
yeah,
doing down here.
like, Molly, what you're saying there about, injecting some humor in your write-ups and, like, having, like, interesting and cool stickers, like, to me, that is paramount in having a successful small business. Like,
Hmm.
I'm not Spyderco. I'm not Benchmade. I don't have, hundreds. I don't have a marketing team. Like, it's
Right.
Right.
just me. It's my name. It's my reputation. And I want people to sort of, you know, recognize that I'm putting myself in this project. So,
Yeah, it's kind of it makes me think about like old money, new money, like all the big companies that have been around forever, they already have their name. They don't need any extra marketing because they've just got that built-in respect just from the longevity of their business. And us new money, small business, little ventures, we have to do something to stand out. And we don't, because we don't have our history to fall back on and rely on. So, that's just kind of the name of the game these days. If you're just getting into it, it's just a different world.
yep, I totally agree. Those big companies, there's nothing like having a track record. Like, once you have a track record, you get to sort of promote your track record, and that is a very powerful message.
Hmm.
So if you don't have a track record, you have to find another way to appeal to people. And what really drives that from, like, businesses like ours is that we're hungry, and it's like win or lose for us. And so,
Hmm.
like, we'll do whatever it takes to be more creative than those big brands or differentiate ourselves from those big brands. And it's like that, usually that level of hunger and sort of motivation doesn't exist in those large corporations because they're employees who aren't vested the same way in the success of the company, you know?
Right.
Right.
They've reached status quo, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's
No,
just
it's
a
a
different.
good thing to have.
Yeah, for sure. I would love some status quo in my life.
Right. So I think it was Lions that asked if you had settled on a manufacturer yet. You want to talk about that at all, or do you have anything
Sure.
you want to share?
Not too much to share there. I've got 4 of them that are in various stages of the process with me. I've seen some pictures, I've seen some drawings. So, like, what I can say at this point is I'm satisfied with how far I've come in this period of time. But it's still too premature to have made a selection and announce whatever comes after that selection is made. What I can say is, like, I'm not easily satisfied that the progress I'm making is where I want to be, you know, because I'm always pushing, but like I can't push any harder. Like things are happening as fast as any reasonable person can expect. So for that, I'm really grateful.
Yeah.
Right on. So one other thing, switching over to a different brand here, but I know that you have some knowledge about this, so I want to show you one thing. I saw this advertisement, little advertisement here that I'm going to switch up, and I want to get your thoughts on this.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know how much of this info has been out yet, but for those that don't know, this right here is what I guess the American service knife. That's the name they're rolling with.
Correct.
And you can see here we've got S45VN tools, S45VN spring, and injection molded covers or scales. I mean, this is a slip joint. It's a Swiss Army knife like scenario, and it would be hard to tell if you weren't really paying attention. But right down here it says brought to you by Medford Knife and Tool. So this logo right here, this is just the American service knife, and that's going to be a brand unto itself. Is that what's going on here?
I think that it's a separate legal entity in its own company and everything. Like obviously it's under the Medford family, but yes, it's got its own brand identity, and that dude has some major aspirations for that project for sure.
Right on. So he says here it's the world's most modular and customizable design. And I think it's kind of interesting up here because it says premium USA made materials like CPM steels and titanium. But I don't really know why they're saying 6AL4V tie up here and pointing to that. I don't know what that tool is exactly. Little pry tool. I'm not sure what the hole cutout is. But then they say S45VN over here. So I don't know what's up with the ad here. It's a little bit confusing, but
yeah, it's technically incorrect. I believe the liners inside are titanium, maybe the hardware, for sure the liners.
Okay.
And that tool, if I'm not mistaken, like a lot of those tools have multiple functions. I think what you can do with that tool is like you kind of drop it on like a bolt or something and then drive it forward until it bites in, and then you can twist to get something turning that's been stripped or something. Like Greg has discussed that in some of his videos, if you guys are really curious. And then another thing that was kind of cool is the bottle opener. See how it has all those holes in it?
Yep.
That thing's actually like a range finder. So you look through the holes, and based on whatever size of the object, if you know the size of the object when you put it in the hole, there's some way to range things with that, and like military dudes would know. But I had never seen something like that. But I thought it was cool because it gives it an aesthetic, and then it also has a function.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, and that's definitely cool. Yeah, and I can see this hole being like, kind of like a nail puller and a little bit of a wrench per se. But the blade shape is quite interesting, and it appears to be a hollow grind, which is pretty cool. So do you know when these are going to release?
Well, I know that guy is aiming for like a January release. Now, I think probably in the back of his mind, he's thinking, I definitely want to get him out by Blade Show. But I think he's aiming for a January release. So it's a really cool project. Like he says, modular, because you can take them apart, with just whatever kind of bit it is. I think an Allen. And swap tools around. You can add liners. You could have multiple tools. Like they're not that far yet as far as like selling kits to add liners and other tools, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the plan. And he has all kinds of tools in the works. And you're correct. They are hollow grinding the blades and any other tools that can be hollow ground.
Nice. Yeah, the hardware looks just like my M48 here, which is a hex key. It looks, I don't know what size it is, 5/32 maybe. Um, but the hardware looks very very similar in the picture to my M48. But it's a cool idea. I think there really hasn't been any um, quality takes on the Swiss Army knife. So I think it's a really interesting concept, and I think it's pretty neat. You know, Pretty much everybody else that's tried a Swiss Army knife style um, really has just made it ultra cheap. I think nobody really wants to try and compete with Victorinox in that world, but I think it's
I
pretty
would agree.
interesting that
They're.
Medford. What was
Go ahead.
that?
Sorry.
Oh, I just was saying I think it's pretty interesting that Medford is given that a real serious effort, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I do too. It's that guy. You know, he's a polarizing individual. He has opinions that not everybody appreciates, and that's fine. One thing you cannot take away from him is that he is highly motivated and has built a very large company in a very short period of time. I've seen his facility; it's impressive. And that dude he thinks big, and I like that. I like people who aim high and think big and take risks. And that project he's attempting there is a huge investment. It's a tremendous risk. He's he's competing with an 800-pound gorilla, Victorinox, and you know, it's absolutely at a higher price point than your typical Swiss Army knife. So I wish him all the best on that project. Whether you love or hate the guy, get your hands on one if you can and consider it, because it's a really cool American-made product.
Yeah, I thought it was a really cool idea, and and I'm sure he's going to make many different tools that you can put into them, and that's something that Rick Hinderer has done very well with like factory accessories, if you will. Uh, so yeah, I think it's really neat, and yeah, I hope I know he's putting in a lot of effort, so I hope the payback is there for him. Um, and it's a cool project for sure.
Hey, Spanx.
Yeah. And I know that it's an interesting too to hear him talk about it. Like the knives he makes and his traditional lineup, there's a lot of handwork that goes on in that. Like blades are ground by hand, finishing is done. All the finishes they do are by hand, and so it's like a choke point in mass production. You can only produce so many of those a year because people have to be trained, and it takes a lot of time to perfect the skills needed to produce a knife of that quality, which will demand that price. But the business model on the American service knife was designed more around being able to mass produce that thing and get them out in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, for a guy to sit down and try to figure out how to do that when his entire business is set up otherwise is also really cool. And another reason I am impressed by what he's doing there, because he stepped way outside of his comfort zone. And that's, for a guy who's highly successful and been in business 12 years, it's super easy to stay inside your comfort zone, that status quo we were talking about. And to see the dude like throw himself into something that's just ridiculously challenging, fraught with risk, is like, I applaud him. I applaud him.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's a serious departure from what their typical knife. I was super impressed with the M48 that I picked up at Blade Show in Atlanta. To me, this was really really positive improvements compared to what they've offered in the past. Um, and I just like to see him moving in that direction. And uh, you know, I mean, arguably he wouldn't have to. Currently his stuff is still selling out everywhere, and he could continue to make the same knives until they no longer sold out. But that's not what he's doing. He's trying to stay ahead of it, which is awesome. So
I agree. That knife in your hand is a substantial departure from what he has historically done. And I've not heard anybody have anything bad to say about that knife. Like, people really dig it. And
yeah,
which I think sort of demonstrates that, like, as a whole, most people have more use for a knife of that size than one that, looks like it was, you can mistake it for a brick. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, for sure. So real quick, my kid just jumped in here. P, what's going on, bud?
Hello, baby child.
Yeah, hopefully you're having a good evening down there in Florida. Getting ready for work, I suppose.
Miss your face.
Yep.
And also, real quick, I think it was Nate asked if we had OCD T-shirts. I'm assuming you took a picture, or you.
So yeah, I did post. So here's the new OCD for EDC T-shirt.
Now they are not available. This is testing. This
Right.
is purely testing right now. So someday soon, but I want to do a little, research and development.
Yeah, so Molly she just bought a handful of them just to check them out and see how they were and that sort of thing. We do, however, have OCD for EDC pocket pens that just came in. Took forever to get them. They were supposed to be here a handful of weeks ago, but they finally showed up, and they're really cool. They're silver. They have the OCD for EDC logo on them. I don't know if you can see that or not, but these are on the website now. You can pick them up, or these are being sent out to the patrons along with, well, different levels are getting different things, but yeah, so you can get your hands on a pocket pen in a few different ways.
We'll send some to you, Ben.
That's right.
Cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that looks like really freaking handy, to have to stash away somewhere.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Thing was awesome.
I love having one in my purse, so we'll send one for your wife too.
I appreciate it. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yep. So we know that you are hardcore in the world of slip joints, but have you seen some of the new stuff that's going on in the world of flippers and just straight up EDC pocket knives? Things like this kind of guy?
Wow, that's interesting. That's like a cleaver.
Yeah. This is from a new kind of a boutique brand called EMP EDC. It stands for Every Man's Pocket. This is their second design. This is called the Thick Boy, and it is a little bit thick, not in terms of Medford thick, but their first design was called the Nimble, similar size knife. Just to give you an idea of size here it is with, if I can get my hands to work correctly, with a pair of 3.
Okay.
So not a very big knife.
Yeah, and in my point of view, it's still a big knife. Just coming from the slip joint world. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's big.
A small knife from the typical folding length. Knife, I suppose. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wide that way. Yeah.
But it's definitely tall. You can see here, it's Spydercos are generally pretty tall because of the hole, but this thing's even taller than that, which is kind of crazy, really. But it's a cool little knife. Just the blade hole for deployment action on it is really fantastic, but you've also got a pretty heavy blade there, so that's to be expected.
I need to interject here for a
moment.
For it. I have a bone to pick with our son. You better not have some girl making you tacos at your house. And also, Lyons Jewelry and EDC said, no baby yet. Mrs. Lyons says hello from the hospital bed. So she must be in labor in the hospital bed, eh? Exciting.
I saw he posted something just the other day, and I think there were maybe some scheduled C-sections that were ahead of his wife. So I don't know if they're scheduling that maybe for tomorrow, or
she's
I don't know what the deal is.
Bed right now. So
okay, right on.
Tell her best of luck.
Yeah.
I mean, best of luck to you too, Dad. But she was doing all the work.
Yep. Right on.
There we go.
So
Is that his first?
I believe so.
Leo, your life's about to change, my friend.
Oh,
yes, sir.
no doubt. It's worth it though.
Yep. And you
Enjoy right now because the baby time, the newborn phase is 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
If you ask me.
best naps ever.
Toddler stage, I'm sorry.
Yeah, once they start talking, and
They
then
never stop.
it doesn't stop.
Yeah,
But-
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to get my lighting right. The sun set on me and it's turned dark. Hold on a sec.
Did you see
That's probably
this?
I like your green
washing
balls,
out.
man.
See this
What's
comment right
that?
here?
Oh
I like
yeah.
your green balls. What?
Where's it at? Right here. This comment.
Unacceptable, Brandon. Unacceptable. Don't talk about my son smashing tacos ever again. Where?
Yeah, and then P says OCD. There's a Shane. My mom's here.
That's right. Your mom's here. She's had about enough.
Yeah, pretty funny. So, yeah, right on. Well, hopefully the girl that is making you tacos knows how to cook, P. So, nothing wrong with that.
She'll never cook like your mother.
So
that's hilarious.
Yeah. How old are your kids, Ben?
My son just turned 9. My daughter's 11.
Right on. So
I really enjoy them at this. I enjoy them at this age. Like, it probably doesn't get much better, you know, because like my daughter's not really like talking smack to me yet, or like wanting me to not be in her life. You know, she's still like cool with me, but like around the corner, things are going to change. So it's like, shit.
Correct.
In 3 to 5 years, your daughter's, things are going to change there.
Right. And then my son, you know, he's 9, so he just like wants to do stuff 9-year-old boys do, and you know, he doesn't really cause me any trouble whatsoever. So it's like, man, if they could stay this age forever, I wouldn't be sad about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
No
Yep. Doubt.
I hear you. Yeah, but they keep growing, so
it gets better in some ways, but then in others, like taco smashing and such. It's just a whole new world that I didn't expect.
A whole new world.
Yeah.
Right. That's funny.
Yeah.
Funny. But it is fun when they become adults, because then you can joke around with them on a different level, which is a big bonus.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. So today I had my son with me and we did some running around. I had to go by, like, I have a storage unit. So I went by my storage unit. And at the storage unit, I've got this like Tupperware with all the like ridiculous knives I had as like a young boy, you know, like an early teenage boy. And so I pull out the movie knife from Rambo 2. You know what I mean? And I just like unsheathed this thing, and he's like, "Whoa!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I had this when I was a boy." He's like, "When you were a boy?" You know, like he couldn't believe it. And I'm like, "Yeah, Grandma let me have all kinds of stuff I probably shouldn't have had." You know,
back in the good old days when parents just didn't think about consequences.
Right, when like, you know, you just came home before it got darker when you said night. Yeah. Yeah.
Get home by the time the lights are on.
You got to have a POS like this that, you know, has your fishing kit and your saw and all that sort of stuff in the handle.
Yep. There's you unscrew it. There's a compass. You got like a plastic insert with a fishing line and some matches or whatever. And so it was funny, like he couldn't believe it. I had like the knife from Cobra, I had the Rambo 3 knife, I had like switchblades from Mexico. Like it's my little nostalgia box. I'll never get rid of that stuff. It's like all my flea market treasures.
Absolutely.
But he was curious about Rambo, and it's like, he's like, well, what happens in that movie? And so I kind of like part one. I walked him kind of through the plot line. And it's like, I just want to watch this movie with you, dude. Like, but I can't. Like, you're 9. You know, mom will freaking kill me if I play Rambo for you. You know, like grandma let me watch that stuff when I was a kid, and that's probably why I'm such a weirdo. So it's like, you know, mom's not down with it. And so I'm looking forward to him, you know, getting old enough where we can like watch some of that stuff and I can relive, you know, some of that stuff with him. Because if he
Yeah.
stayed 9 forever, I couldn't, you know, show him all the awesome 80s and 90s action movies.
Right. Well, at 9 years old, you can watch like Rad with him.
What about Karate Kid?
Karate Kid.
You gotta watch Goonies with him.
Yeah, Goonies, definitely.
Have you guys like gone back and watched some of those movies like anytime recently?
Yeah.
Because like they look old as shit.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know.
You know?
Not really recently, but here in the last 4 or 5 years, we've gotten a bunch of those old movies and, you know, watched them with the kids and stuff. And yeah, it's shocking how old they look.
Definitely.
They look old, man. Like, and my daughter, she just loses interest almost immediately sometimes because it's like, this is just too old. It's like unrelatable, you know? Like when we were kids and my parent put something on from like the 50s or 60s and it was black and white. It's like, I can't watch this. Like, what is this? You know?
Yeah, it is pretty shocking how old they look because it just makes me feel older than what I think I am, I guess.
And I remember it being so much cooler than it really was.
Yeah, for sure.
100%. Yep. 100%.
JB, thanks so much for the super chat. And apparently, JB thinks that you're a big sexy beast.
Well, the feeling is mutual, sir.
Hell yeah.
I got to meet JB face to face at Blade West, which was just awesome. And
nice.
Super thankful for that. And I just got to say, guys, like you guys can make it to some of these knife shows and meet the community face to face. It really is just an amazing experience to actually get to like shake people's hands and, you know, have a drink and, you know, bullshit with people and show off your knives. And it's like, it's just way better than online. Online is amazing. It brings us together in a way we could have never imagined. But if like we can make the effort to meet each other face to face, it really is unforgettable.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, I travel quite a bit for my job, so I've been out in the Pacific Northwest multiple times and got together with JB and Zach and you know, a handful of guys, and I've been pretty honored to be able to meet a bunch of these guys that I talk to quite often, you know, from this community, kind of all over the country, honestly. I was down in Atlanta a few weeks ago and met up with old Super Sissy Steve down there and had a good time. And so, yeah, it's just super cool to meet all these people, you know, that are scattered all across the country that share the same interest, you know?
Absolutely. And one thing that I've kind of realized doing now, I've exhibited at 3 shows and I've been to 4. Like I did this show ICCE in Fort Worth in March, not as an exhibitor, but as a, you know, just a spectator. And I kind of got a behind the scenes experience there because Enrique was an exhibitor there and he introduced me to everybody. And so I've like had 4 show experiences, 3 of which I exhibited. And now that I've done that, 100% committed to doing shows every year. Like, you know, I want to have a set schedule and keep hitting the same ones. And even if I get successful in Europe, I want to go do a show out there because those shows are like, they're irreplaceable for so many reasons. Of course, like we just mentioned, meeting people face to face who you've met online, relating directly to your customers, like having people put your knives in their hands is so valuable because I can't tell you how many times I heard something like this. Oh, the one I thought I'd like in the pictures isn't the one I like the best. It's actually this one, and I thought I wasn't going to like this one. You know, and that just goes to show like this whole thing really is a personal experience, and like being there and putting your hands on this stuff is irreplaceable. Like you can do stuff online. Pictures are worth 1,000 words, videos even more. It's still no substitute for a hands-on experience. So
and
I want
and building relationships as well. Like you want to build relationships with your customers, so that's how you get to do that.
For
of
sure.
course,
Hey,
and
Stasa, what's going on, man? Stasa's another guy that I got to meet down at Blade Show in Atlanta. Had a great time. It was a ton of fun. Um, yeah, so
yeah,
definitely in a
Stasa came by my table. Never met the dude. Hadn't seen his channel. Was really freaking cool to me, and made a feature video where I got to give my presentation to everybody. And it's like that could have never happened had I not been at that show. And
right,
and it's just like the goodwill you get from people within the community. It's so awesome. So my commitment is, as long as I am physically capable and have the financial means to do it, I will be at shows every year, like around the country, so that people will have a chance to come and say what's up. Check out what I got going on. You want to meet me first? You want to see the knives before you buy? I totally get it. Come down to a show. I'll try to get as close as I can to you. And then the other
right,
side of it, if you're on the business side of things, like there are connections to be made, there's knowledge to be gained. Like you'll never get that same opportunity if you never leave your shop or your office. Period.
Mhm.
People
yeah,
want to meet you. They want to like take your temperature. They want to like assess your character. And if you get along really well with people, then they want to consider collaborating with you in some form or fashion, or sharing information with you. And like that's not going to happen unless you put yourself in front of someone, and have that opportunity to be honest in front of someone and humble in front of someone. So
well, when it comes to knives, not so much like and this is one of the other things that harkens back to the conversation we were having earlier with like Benchmade and Spyderco. Certainly I feel like people are buying those knives based on name recognition and whatnot, but when it comes to stuff like this, I think just as much you're buying the guy who developed this, as much as you are buying the actual knife. So many of these things with these small kind of boutique or niche brands. Yeah, going out and getting in front of the people, and people will buy your products just because they respect you and like what you have going on. And that's one, what I think so cool about Jack Wolf is that you're starting with, you didn't just drop one design, and you didn't follow the playbook of everyone else, which I just think is super cool.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think you're right. Like, and I will beat this drum to death. This is an art appreciation like thing we're into. It's craft art. It's not like a painting on the wall. Like craft art is like art exhibited through tools or things we use every day. And people have been embellishing their tools and personalizing them and making them beautiful since the beginning of freaking time. So
Yep.
it's like, how important is it then to have an emotional connection with the artist? Like you're making an emotional connection with their work, and so it's that much more rewarding if you can make an emotional connection with the artist as well. Because this is
Yeah.
nearly entirely an emotional experience that we're after. Like I say it a lot, and it's like I see people oftentimes gloss over that, and I think it needs to be sort of, well, I like to talk about it because it's my philosophy, is that I almost say it's like it's a given the knife has to be well made and function to its expectation. Like to me, that's a given. And it's like, if that's all you cared about was something that cut boxes, you would go buy a disposable razor blade holder for $10,
Right.
and because you want to spend, you're thinking about spending $275, $300 for a knife. We're no longer talking about I just need something to slice up some boxes. We're talking about
Yeah.
something entirely different now. I want to buy something that makes me feel good. I want to buy something that I appreciate the craftsmanship. I appreciate how well the tool works. I appreciate the materials. I appreciate the person who put it together. I appreciate the packaging. I appreciate the brand image. I appreciate the vibe.
Right.
It's the vibe, and like that vibe has to be just making people feel good.
Just gotta
So
catch that vibe, dude.
it's all
Yeah.
about it. It's like you know, I see when I go to the shows, I see a lot of like really talented people. I see some really amazing work, and I see them putting out like zero vibe. You
Mhm.
know, they sit at the table like this, just kind of waiting for someone to come around, and it's like, dude,
Right.
where's your energy? Like,
Yeah.
where's the vibe? You know, how are
Yeah,
you gonna like?
you can't draw people in on that. That's not
No,
approachable, you know?
no. And I'm not
Yeah.
sure that like, and you know, not everybody like, we all have different talents, right? And so you might have a dude who's like an amazing craftsman, but like maybe not as relatable to people, you know, because
Mhm.
Right.
doesn't even like dealing with people. He likes being in his shop, like working with his hands and not like dealing with paper and dealing with bills and dealing with phone calls and especially customers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and so for me, it's like, I really like that part of it. I like the customers. I like the collectors. I like hearing your guys' stories, you know, and the fact you guys are willing to listen to mine and check out what I have just is super humbling and motivating all at the same time. So,
Yeah. I don't know if you can see this question here, but Oregon Knife Guy asked Ben, have you tried a Sheffield made Taylor's Eyewitness Barlow? Handmade by one guy.
I don't think so. You'd have to like send me a picture of one or something, or let's pull one up if you guys can do that. Give me 1 second. I'll make my light better. It's driving me crazy that my face is like washed out. Just give me a
Yeah,
second.
no worries.
Well, it's ghosty season.
Uh,
I mean,
Brandon, thanks so much, man, for the super chat. We greatly appreciate it. Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm not sure who said it, but yes, my kill list is definitely longer than the amount of CMEs we have sold to date, for sure.
Yeah, right. That's funny. Oh,
Duh.
I need to figure out how to use this thing. Because, there we go.
Technology.
So, yeah.
Stop by that Bonation station.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. So when Ben gets back, we'll bring him back in here. But in the meantime, we've got a handful of different pieces over here on the table. I don't know how many of you guys picked up this MBK Old Guard. This is the full size Old Guard, but it is really a fantastic knife. I really dig it, and yeah, it's just a good one all the way around. Now, I haven't had an opportunity to check out the Sea Otter yet, but it's too bad they didn't make it in a large and a small, because I'm pretty sure that the Sea Otter in its current configuration is going to be smaller than I would like to see it.
Definitely tell all the dogs I said hi, Willows and Junior. That would be tight if you could get stationed in Ireland or Scotland. Either way,
Ireland or Scotland.
You. I know you like your redheads. They do come from both areas, and we can find you a nice Scottish girl. The
Nice
Irish
Scottish
ones are
girl.
nuts. You can't date one of those though.
So the Gavco Mako, definitely a pretty sweet one for sure. So thanks to Bama, I don't know if he's in here or not, for sending this over. Definitely needs a detent ramp. Thing wants to fly back open on you, but it's a cool one for sure. All right, let's see what we can do here.
Ready when you are.
There you go. Look at that. Look at that.
That's better.
It's very, very fancy lighting now.
Yeah, that other one behind me is too bright, but we'll just leave it alone. Next time I'll be more prepared on my light. I struggle with lighting every time I do one of these things. It's hard to get it just right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been messing with it and working on it. I don't know why this isn't going back to. Huh. I don't know why it's not. I don't know what I'm doing, Ben. That's
Hey, man,
what's happening here.
We do what we can with what we
Yeah,
got.
I don't know what's going on. Why this isn't?
Technology is hard.
Yeah, it's only giving me the option to just swap the screens like that, but it shouldn't. I don't know what's happening here. Hello.
I'm gonna look through the chat while you mess with it. Let's see here. We're gonna Night Guy. I'll take a look at the IG pictures after the stream. Thank you for sending. Let's see here.
Why this is screwed up?
No, there's no reason.
I'm not looking like a ghost anymore. That was the goal. What you miss, Exit Ham? We're just talking, man. We're hanging out. I hope you're having a good birthday, bro. I hope you had a good dinner. How old are you, man? What's the magic number? Taz's World talking about getting a knife out in Australia. I don't have lined up yet an Australian dealer. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to talking to somebody out there, but I would need maybe, if I could get a suggestion from anybody out there in the Outback who would be an appropriate seller for traditional knives. I mean, they don't have to only sell traditional knives, obviously, because my knife appeals to the modern knife buyer too. But just, anybody wants to send me a message, support@jackwolfknives.com or on Instagram. Any dealers you guys would like to see in any foreign countries, like I want to have an international footprint. That's very important to me. And with a slip joint, you carry this
worldwide.
That's right.
You can carry the thing pretty much everywhere. So like, to me, it's important. Now, as far as pricing internationally goes, obviously it's going to cost more to get knives over there. A lot of these countries have import taxes, and not every dealer, some dealers in other countries need a bigger margin than the U.S. dealers. So like, it's a balancing act for me to make sure that you guys aren't getting overcharged, but at the same time, like making sure the dealers are satisfied with the money they're making, or else, they're not going to want to work with you. So worldwide sacks.
Worldwide stacks.
Yes.
Absolutely. No, I think it's a really great deal for, and you to push and go into Europe, because they're just really limited on what they can carry over there because of the knife laws. And they miss out on so many good things just because it doesn't fit into their, very, very specific laws that they have over there. So I think you'll do extremely well in Western Europe for sure.
Man, the German audience has been like super enthusiastic, and it kind of makes sense. Like, if we could stereotype a little bit, right? Like, they're into like stuff that's really precise. They're into things that are modern. They can carry a slip joint, and they have like their culture is really strong in knives. And so it was like, I was just so excited because, I don't know, man, what more could I ask for? To have an internationally successful brand, like that's a dream come true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I feel like you could bring out like a techno wolf or techno jack, and have a into the German
stereotype.
Hey, it's perfect. You could have all sorts of fun with that.
Right. And just, like I'm in a couple Facebook groups of like German slip joint guys, like traditional knife Facebook groups that are German centric. And I post in there all the time, and I've had just amazing feedback. So I'm super excited to get knives over there. Am I going to do a pre-order? Probably not. My concern with a pre-order in the very beginning was I'm not in control of the manufacturing. And even if I communicate very clearly the situation, people are going to want to know when they're expected. And if I collect your money and I tell you when I expect them, then you have an expectation. That's totally natural. And I don't want, it's already been hard enough for me to not meet the original timeline I've told everybody that was completely outside of my control. But at least your money wasn't involved in that,
Right.
And so if I can avoid taking people's money without knowing for certain when they're going to get their goods, I'm trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I think that adds a whole new level of risk that no small business wants, in my opinion. Like, that would not be anything that I would want to take on either. So I totally get that and respect that.
Yeah, I mean, I get why guys do it. Sometimes it's the only way to get a project done, and they're comfortable with that. And like, hey, that's cool, And a
Hmm.
lot of guys want to make the pre-order so they know they got one coming, and I get that side of it too. But
Sure.
that was a business decision that I had to make, and ultimately, like those are the kind of things that can turn a night of good sleep into a sleepless night, you know.
Exactly. Yeah.
And
And,
so for me, right,
it just doesn't work for everybody, for sure. And
right.
you have to assess your own risks and make your decision what's best for you and your company, and it is what it is.
Right. I'd rather send money to a manufacturer and lose my money than send your money to a manufacturer and lose your money.
Yeah, same.
Right.
That's what it
Same.
comes down to.
I'm with you on that.
Yep, definitely. So I got to show you something real quick here. So, Lefty EDC, right, Kevin?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
All right. So Kevin bought for, Grady's gear?
Yeah, Chris is the
Okay.
man.
Yep. So Kevin was trying to buy a mask for Grady's son for Halloween this year, and he ended up buying this mask, or what he thought was a mask, off of Etsy, and what he ended up getting was a 3D printable
File.
3D file instead of an actual
Mm-hmm.
mask. So
Read your descriptions on Etsy.
right.
How do you do that? Right? How does that happen?
Mm.
So this is the mask. This is what the kid
Oh,
wanted. Now I don't know what this is from exactly,
that
but he
looks like a
wanted
Mexican wrestler.
It does, doesn't
it.
it?
Yeah, he called it a ninja mask.
Oh,
But what he wanted was the middle one there, the blue and white one, which isn't showing up very well on the picture. But so anyway, so as you know, I do some 3D printing, and so we had a little bit of a chaotic situation happen. But so here is the mask, and as it was printing, a few pictures
wow.
of it, and I did it in a luminous blue, so it actually glows in the dark. And then today, um, Molly and my daughter Berkeley ended up painting the mask, and
Oh
here it is.
yeah, that looks so good.
So,
Thank you. I'm an artist. What can I say?
yeah, pretty cool. So they'll have to put a strap on it. But and so the white color here will actually glow in the dark blue, and then of course the blue paint. So it should look pretty cool when it's glowing in the dark.
Yeah, we'll have to make sure to tell him to charge it before he goes out for trick or treating.
Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah,
so
he needs to keep a flashlight with him. That looks
Yeah.
so good. That looks
right,
amazing. How does it
and
feel like structurally?
oh, it's really strong. So
Right on.
it's hard. Um, so I don't know how comfortable it's going to be to wear. I sized it to fit his head, which I think he's like 5 or 6 years old, something like that.
It fits me, so it's gonna fit him. I have a tiny head.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it should be pretty cool. And yeah, they did an awesome job painting it.
Oh,
Oh,
Lefty just got in here.
right on. There you go, Lefty. So thanks so much for the super chat, man. I greatly appreciate it. So yeah, I think it turned out pretty cool. So we'll get this thing shipped out. So I'm excited to see some pictures of him wearing this thing and
Yeah.
doing some trick or treating.
Yeah. I want to see the whole getup.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah, I'm
work,
not sure.
Justin.
What's that?
Good work.
Yeah, I appreciate it. It turned into kind of a shit show. My printer had a little bit of a hiccup. I don't know if you can see this line right here. So it printed in this orientation, and about 3/4 of the way through it, my printer got it. It skipped a couple of steps, which shifted over just a little bit. So I had to stop it and then print the second half and then fuse the two together. But it turned out good still. Even with that hiccup, it still turned out pretty awesome.
Yeah, we need to get that thing in the mail tomorrow.
For sure.
Pronto.
Yep.
You know, had he bought that mask online, it would have been like that paper thin, like crinkly plastic or whatever, and it like splits where that strap is, like in the first 5 minutes, you know.
Yeah, like we used to have when we were kids that you'd buy at Walgreens.
This, you know, this definitely isn't as strong as like a goalie mask, but that's what it feels like in hand. I only did like 15% infill, and it's already kind of heavy, honestly, for what it is. But yeah, I think it should work out pretty good, and it's going to be a custom fit. Old Grady measured the kid's head, sent me the measurements, so we sized it for the kid's head. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That kid is gonna go crazy when he sees that thing.
Yeah, he's been pumped for it and asking his dad about it and stuff. You got a cramp going there or what?
Yep, got a streaming cramp.
Got a streaming cramp. You were she was over here earlier.
How weird was it seeing like a face start to appear on the 3D printing table?
It was creepy.
Dude, it was kind of wild looking. I don't know if I took a picture of just the face or when I did the second print, because
it was just a partial face.
Yeah, it was a partial face, like nose, mouth, chin, it looked wild on the printing surface. It was pretty crazy. Yep. So yeah, definitely looking forward to seeing that on the kid. It should be pretty cool. But then the glow in the dark portion, it actually lasts quite a while. I mean, it'll stay glowing pretty good for, you know, a couple hours, maybe 3-4 hours, something like that. So should be good enough to get some good trick or treat time in.
Yeah, there's a lot of that glow in the dark material to, you know, illuminate or whatever. Like that thing's awesome. Are you guys dressing up for Halloween?
Honestly, I don't know.
No,
probably not. I don't know even what time. We're not going to any Halloween party this year, are we?
No, we don't really.
Oh,
I mean,
Saturday night.
All of our, you know, our kids are grown and past that. And we live out in the country, so we don't get trick-or-treaters. So yeah, there's really, it's a bummer because it's one of my favorite holidays, but yeah, we live in the country, so here we are.
Yeah, and we don't have any, I mean, our kids are the youngest ones out here. So yeah, we have one neighbor and they have 3 daughters, but their youngest daughter is the same age as our son. So we don't have any little kids around or anything that would be doing trick-or-treating. And there's literally only, I don't even know, 8 or 10 people that even live on our road. So, and that's several miles long. So
usually we would go to the small towns that the kids go to school in and take them trick-or-treating there. But yeah, like I said, I mean, for the last couple of years, our daughter went with her friends by herself. And this year she's too old for it. So.
Right.
David says that I grew out of my hooker costume phase. Yeah, Molly and I told the story of how we met one night in a live stream, and it was at a Pimps and Hoes party back when we were in college, and I was dressed as a hooker. So
mighty fine hooker.
Yeah, me and a buddy of mine went as hoes. So, you know, it was good times.
Dude, please tell me you had fishnet stockings on.
I didn't do fishnet, but I had a purple wig, and it was like a sparkly wig, and I had a skirt on. Molly's got pictures of it. I had a skirt with this top thing on with like my belly all showing. You know, so I went full hooker. Like I didn't mess around. I went all in. Yeah.
You won me over.
Molly was buying that night, and
yep.
The rest is history.
That's right. The funniest part about it is that it was a weeknight, and a buddy of mine talked me into going to this party, and I really didn't want to go because I didn't know anyone there. He had some friends that were there, and he ended up just badgering me about it. And so we finally went, and we get all dressed up, and we get there, and there's just like, I don't know, 20 people or something, 25 people sitting around,
Not even.
just shooting the shit and whatnot. The Pimps and Hoes party had been canceled. And so we walk into this house, and we're the only two dressed up, dude. And I'm full hooker, like full on hooker. And everybody's just hanging out and like drinking beer, and like there's some dudes playing video games, and there's some other people. I don't even remember what all was going on, but it wasn't like a rockin' party. It was just people hanging out. And the funny part about it is that us walking in dressed like hookers ended up like breathing life back into the party.
It got the party started.
Yeah, it got the party started.
Oh,
So
yeah.
then, yeah, it was pretty wild.
Yep. Are your kids still trick or treating this year and everything? I imagine so.
Trick or treat. Like, we moved into this neighborhood right before COVID kind of hit, and they do like a little Halloween thing here. You know, like the parents get together, block off a cul-de-sac, but we haven't been able to experience it yet because of stupid ass COVID. So
Yeah.
that's happening this year, and we're super excited to kind of meet some neighbors and hopefully, you know, get some relationships with these kids.
Yep.
Because it's been weird for my kids to not be able to like meet neighbor kids. It's been kind of disappointing. So hopefully it's like a good icebreaker for the neighborhood.
Yeah. And you live, what, just outside of Phoenix? Is that right?
I live in the city of Phoenix.
You live in the city of Phoenix. Okay.
Yep.
Nice. Ian says only in Iowa. That actually happened in Illinois.
Yeah,
Ian.
that was an Illinois activity back when we were still there.
Yep. That was pre-Iowa. So.
Yeah. So are you in the cul-de-sac activity? Is it like a little barbecue candy handout session? Is that what's going on?
Yeah, pretty much. Like, it's kind of like potluck style. So they put out a bunch of picnic tables. Everybody brings something to eat. The kids like kind of group together and then do a loop just without the adults. And so it's kind of like empowering for them to get to do that. And then, of course, if you got little kids, like, you just go take them.
Yeah.
But if like your kids are old enough to join the kid group, and then once they go off and do that, then the adults have a chance to kind of get to know each other a little bit. So yeah, it seems like it's really well thought out. I know they've ran a program in the past and they kind of have it down. It's always like one super mom who's like in charge of like really putting the thing together, and so she's been awesome.
Nice.
I'm really looking forward to it. You know, I know we've got some cool neighbors. I haven't had a chance to do much other than say hi. It's just so socially weird right now. Like, you don't know if people want to be approached. So it's like everybody kind of falls back, and I don't like that so much.
Yeah.
I kind of want to know my neighbors, you know?
Did you have any, I know you guys did your son's birthday party last weekend. Did you have any neighbors over for that, the water slide activity?
We just had school friends. Like, I don't even know who to invite from the neighborhood. So hopefully next year we'll have some neighbor kids, you know?
Yeah.
Like the house next door, we know them, but they have 3 daughters, and that's good for my daughter, but they're like super sketchy about COVID. And so it's like, you know, that's your own choice. Everybody assess their own risk. They're both like radiologists. And so like they see lots of pictures of lungs and I think they've seen some like pretty nasty, like, you know, x-rays of COVID lungs. So I like get why they're maybe a little more gun shy than others. But, you know, I'm just waiting for them to like get comfortable with it so my daughter can play with their kids again. And I really want to meet some boys in the neighborhood for my son.
Yeah. 9 years old. Hopefully there's some other boys his age that live in the neighborhood. I'm sure there are, you know.
Yeah, I'm sure this little potluck will change things.
For sure.
For sure.
Yep.
I'm kind of jealous.
Definitely
I would
looking
like to come to the potluck.
Right?
Yeah, I imagine like that's kind of one of the things about living in the like my wife's from a small town in Texas, so I kind of got to experience that firsthand, like country living, and like, you know, people know each other, I think, a lot more than people who live in big cities, because, like, you know, town small, you get to know people, but like you're geographically separated, so like some of those activities like that we just kind of take for granted. It's like, yeah, we'll get like 100 trick-or-treaters this year, or whatever the number is. It's like, no one's walking quarter mile to my house to knock on my door, you know. So that's kind of an interesting like side of the coin.
Yeah, for sure. It was my favorite activity all through high school and college, handing out candy to all the kids. And I've lived without it for a very long time now.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of pros about living out in the country for sure. I mean, I can take a piss wherever I want. I can, you know, go out and pew whenever I want to, and you know,
I can have all the animals I want.
Yeah, all the animals, and I can, you know, go out and shoot raccoons in the face and that sort of thing. But you know, when it comes time for Halloween, yeah, we don't really, and we don't like ever really decorate like for Christmas and stuff outside the house. Like,
yeah, I would love to, but like, why?
Yeah, I mean, nobody's gonna see it.
No one's gonna see it.
Yeah. And our house sits way back from the road, so like even if we did do anything outside, like people would just like see some glows between trees and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, just really wouldn't. But I mean, her and my daughter, they decorate the house inside and stuff for Christmas, but we just don't really do much outside.
Yeah.
So
yeah, goes with the territory.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't have it all, right?
Yep.
That's right.
It's
exactly. I need a micro mini cow and a tiny horse. I like.
Here we go. She's been on me. She wants one of them micro cows and a tiny horse and a whatever. I don't even know. We have a full size cow. His name's Mugen Freeman. He's right out there.
But he's about to be dinner.
That's right. And then we'll get a mini cow. It'll be a small one. It'll grow over time. And then like a year and a half or 2 years down the road, that one will be dinner.
But Ben, I need I have a miniature donkey and he needs a friend. So if you can help me talk Justin into that'd be great. I know you guys have a budding romance, so
we do. I'll try to understand, you know, each of your side of the thing, and maybe we can get something you both want out of it.
Yeah.
No, that's not how it works.
Well, sometimes, you know, you got to give to get, Molly. So, you know, you want a micro cow. I never even heard of a freaking micro cow, but apparently it's a thing.
It's a thing.
So, did you move it?
No. It's up there. It's behind your strap.
Oh, there it is. So, just last week, Lions EDC sent this in for Molly. So this is a little micro cow. And
that is a real thing? Like, that thing's cute.
Yeah, dude, they're like dogs. And then a little mini horse.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
And I mean, people butcher them because like it's good for a smaller, you know, someone looking for beef that doesn't, you know, can't justify having a full ass cow, you know?
Right.
But I mean, we can because we've got family that'll buy a quarter, and you know, people at my work will jump on a quarter cow in a heartbeat. So I really just want one for a pet.
That's the deal. Is that she wants a cow that's going to be around to die of old age, and I told her,
yeah, because I really
when we got this cow that we're not just feeding it for the rest of its life. That's not the deal here.
Correct. And I'm on board with that. But like, I never knew that I would love having a cow. Like, he's my homie. He gives me kisses. He pulls my hair out when I'm doing fence work out there. Like, he loves me and I love him. But I know his end game. So going forward, I would like to have one that can be a pet.
Man, that is... I don't even know how to process all that. Like, are you going to be able to emotionally let go of that cow? Like that?
Yeah, because I've prepared myself. Yeah, okay, no, I'm mentally prepared for this. It'll be fine.
That's tough.
For those that don't know, when we got this cow, it's a steer, and he weighed probably, I don't know,
100 pounds when
yeah,
you got him.
somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds. But we had to bottle feed him in the beginning. It's a Holstein steer. And so, he was bottle fed for the first, I don't know, 6 weeks, 4 weeks
Uh,
maybe. I
I
can't
think like
remember.
2 months probably.
Was it
Yeah,
two
so
months? Okay.
8 weeks probably.
Um, but when you do that, they end up kind of becoming like dogs. Now he doesn't realize that he's 1,500 pounds at this point. You go out there and he jumps around and carries on, and he's like
When I
a
tell him no, he gets mad at me. So then he like throws a fit and tosses his head and like Broncos around.
yeah, does a little rodeoing, and yeah. But yeah, cows are
They are personality.
yeah, quite. They have quite the personality
Yeah.
if you interact with them on a daily basis.
Yeah, he loves nothing more than pets and giving kisses. And I don't know if you've ever felt a cow's tongue. It's painful, very rough.
it's
And he wants to lick me on the cheek. So
it's like 24 grit sandpaper. Yeah.
it's
Man, I
pretty
didn't
fun.
realize all that. Like, you think they're just these big dumb animals that stand out there waiting to get slaughtered, if you don't know any better.
Yeah,
No.
no, that if you interact with them, they are they have a lot of personality for sure.
Yeah.
But the ones that are just left to their own devices and pushed from pasture to pasture, yeah, they're skittish about people, and you can drive them easier just because they don't really want to be with people. They want to just be out eating grass.
This is him right there. That's Yeah, that's not going to show up very well.
What's his
That's
name?
Mugen Freeman.
Mugen. You got to be kidding me. That's amazing.
Nope.
Yeah, and just
Yeah.
a little throwback. We used to have some turkeys, and our daughter and son named them Christmas and Thanksgiving
Oh,
because
nice.
they were for the purpose of slaughtering.
Yep.
So you gotta you gotta be a little ironic out in the country.
Yeah.
For sure. It's like you have to accept the reality of the situation, but you're not cold with the animals either. So it's like it's good learning experiences for your kids for sure.
For sure. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
we treat all of our animals with the utmost respect and baby them next level. Really, it's my fault. But they are here to serve a purpose. Our chickens are here to serve a purpose and they have a job to do. The cats, the barn cats, they have a job to do. They're loved and everything, unspoiled by all means, but they do have a job to do. So they stay outside and, just there are all these aspects that it's definitely made our kids tougher, and more realistic, in their thought processes as they've gotten older, just experiencing, there there's a purpose for everything, and you have to accept that whether you want to or not, and you have to respect it.
I can totally see that. I think that's really cool. I think it's cool. Like, obviously, you know, you guys have to make those. You have to make those tough decisions and follow that kind of plan because that's how your household survives out
Mm-hmm.
in a country environment. It's like this is how it works, and it's not always. Sometimes it's emotionally tough, but it's like we do this because it makes us stronger, and if we're stronger, then we can provide for all these animals and for our family. So that's like a really awesome life lesson for your family for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And having chores for the kids and stuff is a good thing as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, there's a lot of good that comes from it, definitely. But there are, it is when you lose an animal or whatnot, it's tough. And yeah, but yeah, everything has a purpose, and yeah, it's just I mean, it's not like we raise everything that we eat. I mean, we still do go to the grocery store and stuff like that, but we do also, make our little patch of land here work for us too.
Right. Yeah, like we've got hay so we can feed the cow and the miniature donkey and whatever else we choose to put in the dry lot. But we've got the chickens that produce eggs, so that's everything we have, we're not trying to be like completely reliant on the land and off the
No.
grid, but like we do make the land provide for us to some extent, because it's a good supplement, and should anything happen in the future, we've got that to fall back on.
Well, and you've got the knowledge and the experience too, you know, and
Yep.
like
Yeah.
you have all that land, and what are you going to just mow it every week, you know, and do nothing with
Right.
it? Like it's,
Right.
you know, it drive you probably crazy having that much acreage and not putting it to work. So that's really cool. I didn't realize all that. I think that's awesome.
Yep. And it's definitely a learning experience for me because I grew up in the city.
Yeah.
So, but it's been great. I wouldn't change it.
Yep.
That's super cool. Yeah, that's really cool to have that diversity in your life experiences. That's fascinating for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good time. Did you guys ever get him like
Yeah.
oh
No, he got snipped right off the bat. So
Yep,
he's a steer.
Yep, he was banded. So his
banded,
balls
not snipped.
they fell off naturally. That's what you do with.
Let me rephrase that. They didn't fall off naturally. They fell off because there was
we put
there was a
tight
band
rubber
around
band.
there. Yeah.
But like we didn't call the vet and didn't have him castrated. Chappie,
But-
on the other hand, that boy got castrated medically.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. So if you leave the nuts on them, they get, you know, once they get a little older, they start getting mean.
Yeah.
And they get really territorial, and
Yeah, you run a risk. And also, if you don't castrate them, there's some pros and cons. They will grow larger, but we didn't need a 2,000-pound steer. Like Holsteins will max out at about 2,000 pounds as a bull. So that wasn't necessary. We didn't need him to get that big. So we're more, you know, just smarter about it and make him a safer steer when he got to the size he is, and he's probably, you know, he might add another couple 100 pounds, but he's fine where he is. He's as big as we need him to be. So
yeah, and you know, we definitely don't want him to be, you know, have something out there that's 1,500 to 2,000 pounds that also has an attitude to go with it,
right,
because that's a really hard thing to handle.
it's a whole other ball game.
I just had to drive my truck in there yesterday, back in the lot area, and he was wanting to sniff my truck and whatnot and lick it and all this sort of thing. But you know, had we left the nuts on him, he may have been headbutting my truck and wanting to fight it. And
yeah,
you know,
if you go online and watch farmers that have, you know, herds of cattle and have bulls, they always have a shitty farm truck, and there are dents all over that damn thing because of their bulls headbutting them.
Yeah, the bulls will just come up and bam, smash into the side of the truck because they, I don't know why they do it, honestly, but they do.
Well, they see their reflection in the paint sometimes. They think it's another bull, so they got to fight, or, you know, they see it as a threat to their territory and their women. So, you know, that's what they do.
Michael Morgan says they had about 200 laying hens. Huh? Wow. Yeah, with our chickens, they're just layers. We don't have or raise any meat birds.
Yeah, I don't want to process meat birds. Yeah. Like we just don't have a processing facility close. We'd have to take them, you know. I think the closest one's like 2 hours away, and I'm not selling them to people. Like I don't have time to take that on, so it's not really worth my while to drive that far. It's cheaper to just buy a whole chicken at the store. The 3 times a year I do that.
Right. Yep. So, right on.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You got a lot of country folk in the chat, man. I'm like fascinated reading the chat. Shane Gables worked on a cattle ranch. 30 pigs, 200 laying hens. Like, you got a lot of country folks in the chat. That's very cool. Mm-hmm. Chickens, pigs, cows, and horses.
Yep, it's a good time.
So, did you grow up in the Phoenix area?
I grew up in Detroit, a suburb of Detroit.
Yep.
definitely not the country.
Right.
You know, a suburban environment,
Mhm.
and had very little exposure to rural living my entire childhood. Just didn't know anybody or have any relatives who lived that lifestyle, and just kind of what it is. And it's why it was the first person I met from the country was when I went to college. One of my buddies, his name was Tyler, and he was from Crete, Nebraska. And like,
Okay.
I'm this Jewish kid from Detroit, and he's this like country boy from Nebraska, and like we were like best friends, but we were so different in our upbringing, you know, and it was like super
Mhm.
fascinating to like learn about each other, and kind of how we grew
Mm-hmm.
up and the things we like to do. And then I
Yeah.
was super fascinated to like, learn a little more about that. And then when oh gosh, I'm trying to even think if I ever even got out. I got to see quite a bit of rural Arizona, which is not the same as like when
Yeah.
people think about the country. It's rural for sure, but it's just not that. It's just a little different.
Well,
And then
yeah,
when I
there's
met my
not,
wife, what's that?
yeah, rural Arizona, there's not, it's not like farm community so much like it is here. I mean, it's
You'd be
desolate, but
you'd be surprised the amount of farming acreage in this state, dude. You would be shocked. Like
no,
there is
no, I
more
know that.
like
I mean, I know that there is farm stuff there, but I'm saying it's not like here where there's farmsteads every handful of miles.
correct. Right. There's like you've got the city of Phoenix, and then you have like this county down below us called Pinal County. It's cotton farms, like there's hundreds of thousands of acres of cotton. And
Right.
so that's a rural part of Arizona. And then there is cattle as well, but it's not that same. It's just different. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
when I met my wife, and she grew up in a town of like 2,000 people, and then their family farm was 10 minutes outside the town of 2,000 people. And it's like
Yep.
I like about a 600-acre farm that has grown to 600 acres over like 6 generations. You know,
Mhm.
and
Yep.
they've all been working that land for well over 100 years. And that's when I really got a taste of like what that lifestyle is like. You know,
And,
when you go to someone's house and you visit with them, you know,
mhm.
people baking pies and stuff like that. Like wake up in the morning, it's like, oh my gosh, on the other side of the fence, there's like 80 cows.
Yeah.
Like at night,
Yep.
it's pin drop silent, and you can see every star. You know, and it's just such a culture shock for me. But I'm super thankful I've had a chance to sort of experience that, not just like on a one-time visit, but now that I have family and I've gotten to spend some time and sort of, I don't live there, of course, but I've at least gotten to experience it in a more meaningful way, and I'm super thankful.
Right. Yeah.
Nice.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. Does your wife miss it at all? Living in a small town, or is she happy to live in the big city?
She gets nostalgic about it for sure. Like, she couldn't wait to get out when she was a kid. She was great. Like, so her father was a farmer. Like, they're, like I said, fifth, sixth generation farmers. And he was
Yep.
just like an American badass, this guy, man. Like, he signed up to go to Vietnam. He drove a tank. He got a bunch of Purple Hearts. He's like a Golden Glove boxer. Like he'd
Yep.
kick anybody's ass who like was disrespectful to women or picked on the small guy. Like, he was just like the real deal. And so she grew up, and he worked 7 days a week, like 24 hours a day. He couldn't even sleep after he got back from Vietnam, like all the shit that he experienced, So he just wanted to work.
Mhm.
Well, so he's got this teenage daughter living with him, and she was great until she kind of hit puberty, and then it was like a fucking nightmare for both of them.
Yep.
And he
Yep.
didn't know what to do with her, so he just like stuck her out in the field, like, okay, pick weeds. And she's like, I don't want to pick fucking weeds. Like, she's allergic to the weeds. She's out there sneezing. She couldn't wait to get out. And then she became a professional in Dallas, and then moved to Chicago. And I actually met her when she was living in Chicago. But like once we had a family and kind of settled down, and we would go back and visit, you'd see like that
Uh-huh.
connection happen with her and her roots,
Yeah.
and spending time with her family and all that. Now, like we've inherited, her father passed away, which was super sad, but like it wasn't unexpected. So that's life. and we inherited 150 acres out there. So I technically own a farm in rural Texas. Right
Look
now,
at you farming.
Yeah.
yeah, that's right, dude. I'd be the worst farmer ever. I wouldn't know what I'm doing. Um, but it's leased to a local
Yeah.
farmer now, so the land's in production.
Yeah.
But one day, man, if I can make this company successful, like one of the things we've talked about doing is just building a small, nice little, like, I don't know, cottage is the right word, out there on that property, and having a place we can go, like, stay connected to those roots.
Yeah, that's cool.
We're at in Texas.
So the town is called De Leon, and it's in a county called Comanche County. Like, Texas has a billion small towns, but, like, really it's kind of situated in between Austin and Dallas, like kind of middle of the state, like
right in the
southwest
middle,
of Dallas. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, Texas is an area that, well, I mean, it's just crazy how big it is, but southern Texas is just vastly different from central, and then western Texas is totally different, and yeah, but that's cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Shane,
it's
I
been
do agree. Store-bought eggs, they don't taste bad. They just don't really taste.
Yeah, after having farm fresh eggs, it's shocking how, I mean, I grew up in a small town in Illinois, but my family didn't farm or anything. So, I mean, I was certainly exposed to it because a lot of my friends were farmers, or their family were farmers. But my family never, had raised animals or anything like that. I shouldn't say that.
Your grandpa did.
My grandfather was a farmer, but I didn't like grow up on the farm per se. But yeah, now that we have chickens and eat, farm fresh chickens often, or not farm fresh chickens, eggs, I should say. It's amazing how bad store-bought eggs are. And like, if you crack them in two separate bowls side by side, like the store-bought eggs, the yolks are just like
pale yellow compared to a farm fresh. The farm fresh are like a bright orange.
Yeah.
Like a rich.
And they
orange.
they just, it's hard to explain, but they've, just sheer numbers and whatnot, they've bred chickens to be perfect layers and lay an egg every single day in a production facility.
But in doing that, they've bred out the vast nutrient,
the rich nutrients that's there in an egg. So where our chickens don't reliably lay one egg every single day,
their protein content and vitamin content is much higher, and their richer flavor too.
Yep. Yeah, and we do get some that are double yolks.
Double yolkers.
For
funny
sure.
thing about that, every time we get a double yoker, whoever opens the egg yells double yoker in our house.
Yep.
And it usually happens when we get new chickens and they first start laying. Depending on the breed, they lay anywhere from they start laying every when they're about 6 to 8 weeks old. Some later than that. But that's when you get a lot of double yolkers or like funky eggs.
Yeah, the young
tiny, like tiny.
Yeah, the first couple of weeks that they start laying, they'll have some real inconsistent size of eggs and double yolks, and sometimes not a yolk, and
it's super fun.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But chickens are just super interesting birds all the way around. There's so many just weird facts about chickens. Like, I don't know if you know this, Ben, but chickens are born with all the eggs they'll ever have in their life.
Mm-hmm.
I did not know
300.
that.
So yeah, they have a very finite number of eggs that they will lay in their lifetime. So you can speed it up by artificially giving them light. So they lay more eggs in the summertime than they do in the wintertime. And it's a function of back when chickens were foraging, and chickens were wild. In the wintertime, there's less food for them to eat. So their body naturally, when the days are shorter, they don't lay as many eggs. And so if you want to increase their laying capabilities, you can put artificial light to make the days longer as far as the chicken's concerned.
In your coop.
And they will lay more eggs by having artificial light more hours of the day.
Force them to do that one a day. And another fun fact is the color of their eardrums dictates the color of their eggs that they will lay. So if you have a chicken with white eardrums, they'll lay white eggs. I think
And if they're red, they're brownish, then you have brown colored eggs. Or I don't know if you've ever seen like green eggs or blue uh, chicken eggs. Like most people have seen the brown ones; those are pretty standard. Um, but
we've got
like,
some chickens that they're called Americanas. Some
yeah,
people call them Easter eggers. They lay like a combination of light blue or like a greenish hue, like a mint green colored egg.
yeah, and
I had
yeah,
no
they're good.
idea. That's all. I'm learning so much today. I never thought I'd be like learning about. First of all, I'm like bummed. I'm not getting like the good eggs. You know, I
Right?
love food. I love
Yep.
food, and I really love breakfast. And it's like you're telling me I haven't been eating like the good, tasty eggs my whole life. Like, shit. Now I gotta
Boy,
go
you
like
are missing
find
out.
someone.
Duck eggs,
Ah,
next level.
Yeah, duck eggs. If you get an opportunity,
Or turkey eggs.
oh yeah,
really.
turkey eggs and duck eggs, they're super rich. Like if you like eggs, duck eggs are phenomenal to eat. I mean, they really taste like chicken eggs, but they're like really good chicken eggs, and they're slightly bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And turkey eggs are really interesting. They're quite a bit bigger than a chicken egg, and the shells are all speckled. They're
Mm.
not. They don't look like a chicken egg at all. They look like they almost look like granite, like stone.
Yeah.
They're all speckled in color, and they have like
But
brown and yeah.
Next time you're in Iowa, stop by. I'll
Yep.
cook you some eggs.
Yep.
oh man, I'm like, first of all, I'm hungry, so this is making it even that much more appetizing sounding. But no, I had no idea. You know,
Yeah.
I had no idea. I didn't even know people ate turkey eggs. It's like now I
Yeah,
have
they're
to
kind
have
of a
one
gourmet
because
thing. Turkeys don't lay daily like chickens do. They lay every 3 days roughly. It depends, you know.
Yep.
So like our turkey, she would lay, she might lay 2 days in a row and then not lay for two, and then lay on the third day, and it was kind of sporadic. Um, but yeah, they're because they don't lay so consistently. That's why you don't see them in stores, because production can't get them to produce what would be needed essentially.
right.
And
I
it's
wonder if
like
there's
quail eggs. It's a delicacy, and you'll only find them in like kind of real high end restaurants, duck eggs and turkey eggs.
Mm-hmm. A
But
lot of bakers use duck eggs,
yeah,
which a lot of people don't know.
yeah, I didn't
the
know that. Of course, I've had quail eggs. Like if you ever eat sushi, they got them. You
yep,
know,
yep.
and but never have I seen at even a fancy restaurant. Well, like you don't go to you go to breakfast, but like there's always just regular eggs.
Yes,
So I'm
Mhm.
gonna
right.
have to figure out like if there's a restaurant supply or just some like bougie grocery store where I can get some turkey
It,
eggs,
your
or some
your
duck
best
eggs.
bet
Those
would be
sound
like a
good.
farmer's market.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And I'm assuming that they have those in the Phoenix area. I would
For
sure think.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah, because there are farms. There are
yeah,
definitely farms. So
Yeah.
man, I'm on the hunt now. That's amazing.
Well, and even for your brown eggs, like you can get those at the regular grocery store. That's become kind of a mainstream thing, but make sure you
but
get free range.
yeah, but the
That's
thing is,
my
even
wife
with the
buys the good stuff. She,
Yeah.
everything's like the most expensive eggs on the shelf, but I don't complain because they taste good.
Yeah.
but
Right.
the thing is that even the brown ones that they sell in the grocery store, those people are doing the same thing. And although they're free range chickens, they still come in a coop every single night, and
Mhm.
they're putting artificial light in there to get eggs every single day,
Right.
which just cuts down on the nutrients because the chicken just can't produce the when you force them to lay every day, the egg is just not going to be as good. And so, like, if you buy some eggs from like a local farmer, not stuff that's at the grocery store, but from someone's farmstead that has a sign out front that says dozen eggs for $15 or whatever.
That's an expensive farm.
Well, price
Should
of
be
eggs,
about $2.
price of eggs is going way up.
That's true.
But anyway, if you do get your hands on some good eggs, crack one of the store-bought eggs in one bowl and the good egg in another bowl and just compare the color and the way they look. And
Yes.
I promise you, you'll see a big difference. And if you cook both of them and taste them side by side, taste test kind of thing, you'll be blown away.
Another little aside. So I know you're on Facebook. You said you're in multiple Facebook groups. Get on your local marketplace and search for people that are selling turkey eggs, duck eggs. There will be people, guaranteed.
Yeah.
All right. That's awesome. That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. And after you experience them, I'm telling you,
you'll never go back.
Yeah, they're so much better. Like, and there's times that we don't have eggs because like in the wintertime.
Like they're molting right now. So
Yeah.
they lose all of their feathers and regrow a new set, nice, pretty set. And so when they're doing that, all of their energy stores goes to that growth. And so they'll slow down. Like right now, I think I might get like 4 or 5 eggs every 3 or 4 days.
If we're going to be talking about Nacho Libre, we have to get the mask in here. Eagle eggs have the most nutrients. Yeah, I can't speak on the eagle eggs. I've never had one.
No.
But I will tell you, I've had ostrich eggs, and pretty much across the board, all the bird eggs really have the exact same kind of taste. It's just a difference in size and texture, but they all taste really the same.
Yeah, there's a richness factor.
There is, but I'm just saying the overall, like,
yeah, they don't taste weird or drastically different.
Yeah, like with duck eggs or turkey eggs and stuff, they're more rich and that kind of thing, but the the egg white is still basically the same as a chicken egg, and the yolk, like all that stuff is very kind of universal.
Yeah, I see some people in the chat saying, Ben, you should get a chicken coop and a few chickens.
Yeah, you could.
Dude, I would not know what to do with that. Like, first of all, they'd probably die under my care, and then I'd have that on my conscience. Like,
dude, they're hardy. They're hardy.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like grow this business. It's like I'm trying to keep, a lot of energy going into that right now. I sure feel bad if like I neglected the chicken. So I'll just let the chicken owners handle that. I'll sell them a knife. They could sell me some eggs. I'm cool with
Perfect.
that.
There you go.
That's a good trade.
Yep, absolutely. Well, we've been rolling at this almost 2 hours. I'm blown away that my phone has held up for this long, because we're rolling off the internet on my phone since we had power issues. We generally don't have too many power issues out here. I mean, I know a lot of people that live in the country do, but ours is pretty solid most of the time. But it takes a pretty gnarly storm for us to lose power. I was pretty shocked, really, because it's been storming all day, but it hasn't been like vicious storm. It's just been pretty steady rain all day, and we did get some thunder and lightning though. So anyway, you got anything left you want to say to the people, Ben? You let them know where they can follow you and that sort of thing.
Sure. Well, I'll just say, man, the quality of this has been great. Like running off your phone, off the cell tower, I think it's been great. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah,
you got a backup plan if you ever have this power problems. To answer your question, so Real, I just want to first say thank you everybody who's here. We got over around 50 people, and to have 50 people to hang out with on a Sunday night, I'm just super appreciative for all you guys and for this opportunity. So I want to say thank you. You guys can reach out to me anytime, 7 days a week. It's just me, man. I'm the janitor. I'm the president. I'm everything. So if you have any questions, they're going to get answered by me. If you want to talk about anything, you're going to talk to me. You can get a hold of me multiple ways. Email me at support@jackwolfknives.com. I'm on Instagram at jackwolfknives. I'm on Facebook. Just send me a friend request personally, Benjamin Belkin, and we can be friends on Facebook. You can send me a message there. Super easy to get a hold of. If you want to talk on the phone, I got a phone number on the bottom of my website. It's a Google Voice number. It'll go to voicemail, but I'll get that voicemail and call you back at my first convenience. Cool. I just didn't want to give my phone number because I get so many spam calls. I typically don't answer every call I get from an unknown number. And I don't want to be hanging up on people who are trying to get a hold of me. So if you want to talk on the phone, just leave me a voicemail. I'll call you back promptly. I'll give you guys, updates when I have newsworthy information on the progress with the manufacturers. But just kind of keep a lookout on Instagram. I'll keep pictures coming of the prototypes I have. Oh, look who's here, Chris.
Yeah.
And if you're not following Grady's Gear, follow Grady's Gear for sure.
Yeah. Go give him a follow. And the mask is for his son. So my wife and daughter painted this today, Chris. It looks pretty sweet. They did like the picture that Kevin sent. It's like gold around the eyes and silver or grayed out lips. So yeah, it's pretty
Hopefully
sweet.
He likes it.
Yeah. So looking forward to seeing the little guy trick or treating with that bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
Post some pictures on Facebook, Chris.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So sorry to interrupt you there.
Good timing.
Yeah. So we had Zach put up Ben's email address here, so you guys can hit him up there if you got. You can hit him up to get a Jack sack. And I've got a few here that we're going to give away, and it's getting late enough now. We'll do something for a giveaway here probably next weekend. And like I said, I got a few things from Jack Wolf Knives that we can give away. But yeah, thanks so much for coming on. It's been a good time. I definitely enjoyed it, and I'm glad you got to learn a little bit about some chicken eggs and whatnot, and talk about the farm.
Odd that it went there, but okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's all good.
I'm always excited to talk about my chickens and my farm.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about these types of events that we have, because we get to know each other better, and it's not there's no script, there's no director of photography that Alec Baldwin accidentally shot. Like, we don't have any of that. We're just here winging it, and it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And I wanted to let you know, I do have my gang shirt on. I just have a sweatshirt on over it. So
fair enough.
Much appreciated. I love a good t-shirt. I've been wearing it often.
Yep.
My
yeah,
pleasure.
Tonight I would have worn the gang shirt as well, but I had to rep the new OCD Free DC t-shirt that Molly got for me. So these just came in this week. And yeah, don't forget, you guys can go and check out OCDFreeDC.com. We've got all sorts of stuff going on there. As well as, if you got any questions for us, you can hit us up. info@OCDFreeDC.com is our email address. You got anything you want to say?
Go pick up a pocket pen.
Yeah, go get a pocket pen. Yeah.
Be a patron and get a free pocket pen.
Yeah, you can do that too.
Support everybody in the knife community, because everybody so far has been 10 out of 10.
Yeah, the knife community is amazing, and yeah, it's really cool. So right on. Well, I will we're gonna end this thing off. She's old, she's got to get to bed.
1 minute.
Well, she's got to be in bed 1 minute. So but yeah, thanks so much for coming and hanging out with us, you guys. We greatly appreciate it. Ben, thank you so much for coming and just shooting the shit for a little while. It was fun to hear about Jack Wolf Knives, as well as just hanging out and having a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Have a good one. Hope everybody has a wonderful week. We will see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.